Hello. So, for those of you unaware, I recently made and played in the Global Finals of the Players' Cup 2. The Global Finals is the third and final stage of the Players' Cup 2. Players' Cup 2 is kind of our replacement for a circuit right now because obviously there's no live events. And so kind of as a stopgap, and as a way that we can still play competitive Pokemon, officially endorsed by the Pokemon Company, during this period, the Pokemon Company has been holding Players' Cups. There was a first one, and now this is the second one. The way that it works is it's a 3-stage tournament. The first stage is a Wi-Fi tournament. You have to finish in the top 256 in your region. After that, it's a regional bracket where the top 256 play all the way down to the final four, and then each of the final four from each of the four selected regions moves on to a global finals, which is a top 16 double elimination bracket. So I made it through the regional bracket, and I made it into the global finals effectively. We were able to change our teams, which I did, and I've recorded all of my matches from it except for one where I forgot to click start recording, which is really frustrating because I was really happy with how I played in that one, but I forgot to click start recording, so I don't have any footage of it, unfortunately. So, spoilers, it was a Colossal Mirror match. It's not really a spoiler because you're never going to see it, but it was a really interesting Colossal Mirror match. So yeah, anyway, I'm using Colossal this tournament, and I'm just going to talk through my run. So yeah, this is this is winners round one. So there's winners and losers, and this is the matchup. So I'm playing against Caleb. I don't know how to say their last name. They're from Australia. My cat's here. Hello. Hello. Do you want to be famous kitty on internet? Hello. Do you want to say hello? No. Okay. He doesn't want to say hello. Okay. If you hear things be destroyed, it's because he has a nice little habit of just seeing what things he can knock over. Specifically in my room, he likes to go inside my bookshelf. So I have a bookshelf that's tall. He'll go on the other side. He'll climb over the books to the back of the bookshelf and then push books off. So yeah, if you hear things falling, you know why. Anyway, this is my team: Dragapult, Colossal, Urshifu, Rillaboom, Incineroar, and Moltres. I will do a team report in this team. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it before the matches or after the matches. Whenever I feel like it. Probably, I guess I'll probably have published it before this, because that makes more sense to me, so people can kind of see what they're working with. And I was looking at my opponent's team, which is Grimmsnarl, Tapu Fini, Kartania, Urshifu, Thundurus, and Rotom Heat. I do want to say that this is an open information team sheet. So I know that my opponent is Calm Mind, Leftovers, Tapu Fini. I know that Grimmsnarl is Fake Out, Screens, Spirit Break. I know that Urshifu is Sash. I know that Rotom Heat is, I think, Citrus Berry, Thundurus is Life Orb, Kartana is Assault Vest. It's all pretty standard stuff here. And I'm looking at this matchup, and I'm thinking, I could not have asked for a better matchup. 3/4 of these Pokemon get OHKO'd by Colossal when it's boosted. Nothing here really threatens Colossal. Tapu Fini is the most threatening Pokemon, and Tapu Fini isn't a great Colossal answer in my opinion, at all. And so I'm thinking okay, this is the perfect matchup, right? I literally don't think I could have asked for anything better. Grimmsnarl doesn't even have any threatening. It doesn't have Thunder Wave. It doesn't have Scary Face. It doesn't even have Trick. It has Fake Out as its fourth move. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm just going to go with my default mode. I'm pretty sure they're going to lead Grimmsnarl Fini because that's the only thing you can really lead into this, and not insta-lose. But we'll see. So, I should volume a little bit. They lead Grimmsnarl Fini, this makes sense. So in this position, I'm thinking, okay, a lot of players turn 1 will Dynamax their Tapu Fini, and so I have a couple options to deal with that, but I kind of want to put pressure on them immediately. And I also honestly I have such a good matchup with Colossal that if I can bait out their Dynamax early, I should have because their only tool to survive Colossal is to Dynamax something, in my opinion. They can Dynamax Urshifu, not a great option. They can Dynamax the Fini, pretty good option. So I'm just gonna play defensively. I'm gonna Light Screen, switch out my Dragapult, or Light Screen with my Dragapult and switch into my Rillaboom. It's worth noting that my Dragapult lives Calm Mind boosted Fini. In Light Screen, or it lives Specs Fini in Light Screen, or a regular Fini outside of Light Screen. That's what I EV'd for, specifically. So I don't need the Light Screen to survive here, but I don't have a better option. Getting the Light Screen up early is nice as well. This also allows me to launch a Will-O-Wisp into the Grimmsnarl turn 2. So they're going to go for Light Screen. Screens are annoying, but Colossal does so much damage, and the passive damage is so much that it's really not the end of the world for them to get screens up. In my opinion. So yeah, Light Screen goes up now. And they're going to go for a Calm Mind, a really good play. Obviously, I wanted them to just max Geyser into my Rillaboom, because then I probably would have just been pretty close to an insta-win, because they would have wasted their Dynamax, but they actually go for Calm Mind here. However, it's not the end of the world, because I did get my Rillaboom in, and it's in a nice position, so yeah, I can just go for Will-O-Wisp into Grimmsnarl and Grassy Glide. I don't really have anything better to do with Dragapult here. A Breaking Swipe isn't worth it, Surf isn't worth it, and I've already set Light Screen, so I may as well try and burn the Grimmsnarl. The Grimmsnarl isn't a weak Pokemon, it has a pretty high base attack, so I like to get a burn on it whenever I can, because that a lot of the time will allow me to just ignore it for the rest of the game, because if you burn Grimmsnarl, then it's like once it's done with its support options, it's like I don't want to say it's useless, but it's not a Pokemon that's super useful in my opinion. So yeah. However, they're gonna make a really good play this turn and actually kind of actually, like, yeah, just make a really, really good move. Which, spoilers, like, this opponent plays extremely well, which is a real drag. Like, given my matchup, this is, like, they make this so hard for me. Like, which, given how good my matchup is, really shouldn't be happening. But yeah, they're going to this turn. Let's see. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because, let's see. Skipping decision time. They're going to switch out their Grimmsnarl here into Rotom Heat. I'm also filming this closer to when I played it. It's just a couple days after I played it. It's Wednesday and we played on Saturday, so I still remember like what was happening. They're going to max their Feeny here. On principle, I want to skip the animation because it takes forever. Saved you 30 seconds. There you go. Feeny goes big. And like I knew Feeny was probably going to be the Dynamax Pokemon in this game. It's not a surprise. Grassy Glide comes out. My Rillaboom is very defensive. It's got almost no investment in attack, so it doesn't do very much damage, but the chip is still nice. It's still relevant chip. And they're going to go for Max Starfall. So this does two things for them. First of all, it KOs my Dragon Bolt, even though I could have lived Max Starfall if they just max turn 1, but because they Calm Minded first, I can't live that. It crits, doesn't matter. There's no way I'm living that. Not a +1. Because Max Starfall is roughly, like, it's slightly weaker than Specs Moonblast, as I recall. And a BB for Specs Moonblast and Light Screen, but they're +1. So, yeah, I think even if they had no special attack investment, I wasn't living that. And now they're up a Pokemon, they have Dynamax boosted Feeny, and they have Light Screen up. So I'm starting to get a little concerned here. Because now it's like, who do I go into? I actually don't remember who I go into here. I can go into Urshifu and put pressure on the Rotom, which is most likely what I did. Oh yeah, I know what I did. Yeah. Or I can go into Colossal and like let them activate my, weakness policy through Protect, but then that puts me in an awkward spot for the next turn. So, let's see. Urshifu's gonna come in here. Because Urshifu outspeeds Rotom Heat, and Urshifu is honestly such a broken Pokemon because you can't protect in front of it, and like the ability just makes it so like Surging Strikes is a good move, yes, but the fact that you can never protect in front of Urshifu makes it like so strong. Here I'm considering my options, but like okay, so I'm Focus Sash Urshifu, so if I detect here, like they're most likely gonna just Starfall me in 2 turns, and their only switch into Surging Strikes is Kartana. Which isn't even that bad for me. Like if they bring Kartana, so I think I just Surging Strike Rotom here because like Detect doesn't do anything for me. You know, I'm getting 2 KO'd anyway because of my Focus Sash because they're not going to Max Starfall my Rillaboom. And I'm going to U-turn here because Grassy Glide's not doing any damage realistically, and I want to reset Rillaboom so that I can switch it into one of these attacks next turn. So Grimmsnarl does switch back in here. Keep in mind the last move is Fake Out, and so like yeah, not Taunt or anything. So I do have to be aware of a Fake Out this turn. Surging Strikes actually does pretty good damage to this Grimmsnarl. 1 hit, 2 hit, and the 3rd hit brings it like below. It's about almost exactly 40% if I had to guess. They're gonna go for a Starfall here and bring my Rillaboom or my Urshifu down to its Focus Sash. Yeah, and then last but not least, I'm gonna U-turn into Colossal. And now like I know this was looking bad, and I know that I've lost basically almost two Pokemon entirely and not KO'd anything in return. However, I'm feeling really good about my position because I'm able to do something really tricky this turn, which is I can protect Colossal and switch into Rillaboom and set myself up really nicely for when this Dynamax ends, like super nicely. They get more leftovers recovery, and they have 1 turn left of Dynamax. And they're still Light Screen boosted and still Combine boosted, so I do have to be wary of that. But yeah, I'm going to switch into Rillaboom here. I don't want Urshifu to go down here because although, like, yes, I might take some damage on my Rillaboom by doing this, like, if Urshifu goes down, then I will have no way of self-activating my Steam Engine, which is how what I need to do to win this game. So, Colossal doesn't need Steam Engine to, like, be strong, but it doesn't hurt either. I'm checking my turns. Because I have Light Screen up, excuse me. Because I have Light Screen up, I'm going to go for a Raw Protect here, like, no Max Guard or anything, because I'm sure that Max Feeny won't do that much damage. And if I survive, then I can go ahead and just max and then, like, yeah, go from there and set up Vocalith or whatever. And they can activate my Steam Engine for me. So I'm going to switch out here into my Rillaboom. Because my Rillaboom is Assault Vest and I have Light Screen up, even Max Starfall, which is the worst case scenario, won't do that much damage. And I'm going to go ahead and Protect Colossal here. So Protect comes out. Excuse me, I feel like I have a little cold because I didn't sleep very much. So, oh yeah, the other thing is that for Players Cup 2, we had to wake up at 7 in the morning, and like we had to play at 7 in the morning. And I am not a morning person, so I didn't sleep very much, and whenever I don't sleep enough, I think I get like little cold-like symptoms. So like I'm feeling a little under the weather, but it's fine. I don't think it's anything serious. I think it's just like literally whenever I do this, whenever I don't sleep, I get cold-like symptoms. Max guys are actually just less than I expect, and it will actually activate my both my weakness policy and my steam engine. So the bad news is rain goes up, but that's only partially bad news because I do have my my Urshifu in the back, who's very strong in range. So weakness policy activates, and Grimmsnarl, I believe, is just going to go for a Spirit Break into my Rillaboom here. Let's see what actually happens. Yeah, it's just Spirit Break into Rillaboom. They were trying to get both KOs, or trying to catch me being greedy or something. Like, if I side Aqua Jet and then Max Flare, then, that was a play I could have made, and it would have made sense. So, excuse me. Blah. Feeney's going to get more recovery. Grassy Terrain plus Leftovers for Feeney is actually really annoying, I'm not going to lie. But we're about to cancel that out pretty quickly with our Vocalith. So, yeah. The nice thing right now is that this Grimmsnarl is, kind of... I don't need to even, bother KOing it, because it can't really do anything aside from Spirit Breaking, although I think I might just KO it just to force something else on the field, which makes sense. This Feeney has Protect, so, yeah. I'm checking my last turn of Light Screen. I'm going to go for, I think, a Fake Out into the Feeney here. It's unclear whether or not, the Feeney will go down to, a Max Grass or whatever, so, I think this move makes the most sense, personally, just Max Vocalith into the Grimmsnarl to get, Vocalith up. I probably could talk about this for a while, but Vocalith is a really all the passive damage moves, but in this case it's Vocalith. They're all very interesting because when you set them up is very relevant, right? What I mean by that is if you Vocalith, let's say you Vocalith and your opponent can't Dynamax, which is the situation right now, then every single turn both their Pokemon are going to take 1/6 of their health for 4 turns. But if your opponent can Dynamax, then half of that damage is reduced for 3 of the turns. To 1/3, to 1/12 of its HP, because Dynamax can't halves all passive damage effects, rather than keeping them the same percentage. It keeps the percentage of the base HP, and so Vocalith is most effective when your opponent has no Rock types left, and they also have already used their Dynamax. So I'm getting max value out of my passive damage from this effect, which is really nice. I'm gonna skip the Dynamax animation. We already know Colossal got set up for free because of the Feeney, which is nice. I probably would have made the same play even if they hadn't Max Geyser me through Protect. But yeah, Fake Out just covers for options here. I don't think they're in Grassy Glide range. They should go for Reflect here. Yeah, they go for Reflect. And I'm going to go for a Vocalith here. So, yeah, they're no longer in range of Grassy Glide, I think, if I had to guess based on how little the first Grassy Glide did in Dynamax. But that is okay. So, Rocks go up here. Grimmsnarl goes down. Like I said, Grimmsnarl couldn't really do anything except for click Spirit Break, but I think it was still good to KO it because I wasn't sure I was getting the Feeney that turn, and I knew I could get the Grimmsnarl by clicking Vocalith there. And we want to force the other Pokemon onto the field. It wasn't that Grimmsnarl was threatening, but I needed Grimmsnarl gone just so I could put pressure on whatever else was in the back. So there's a lot of passive recovery here. I'm just going to skip this. Skipping. They go into Urshifu. Okay, so the last one was Urshifu. I make a poor play here, but I think it works out. I think to myself, okay, if I double into the Urshifu, I can get rid of it. And by getting rid of the Urshifu and setting up Sun, then the Tapu Fini won't be able to threaten me at all. So you can see I'm thinking about Grassy Glide into Fini. I choose not to. I'm thinking, okay, Grassy Glide into Urshifu, plus Max Flare into Urshifu, KOs the Urshifu, and Tapu Fini now in the Sun can't KO my Colossal, and then I can still have the same 2 Pokemon next turn. So they do end up switching out, so I guess it technically is the right play. However, the issue here is that actually, okay, here's the real issue here is that yes, I Grassy Glide, it does no damage because I forgot that with Reflect, Light Screen, and Rain Up, even though my Colossal's +2. It actually doesn't do enough damage, which I was like, it didn't even cross my mind that the Urshifu could survive this. I was like, of course it goes down. But yeah, actually it does not go down. So Close Combat's going to come out here, leave me with 52 HP, which is fine, but I'm starting to get a little nervous here, truthfully, and, yeah. The Vocalith goes off. I think it survives for one more turn. Yeah, just barely. Yeah, I do a Calc here as well, maybe during all this passive damage, that, and just make sure that my Colossal's out of range of the Sucker Punch, which it is. I think max damage Sucker Punch is 50 or something, or maybe 60, but it's not 64. So I know that I can't. Yeah, that's why this. Oh wait, no. Yeah. So yeah, I've already calced at some point. I know Sucker Punch doesn't do enough. Here's the issue though. Like, let's say I hadn't gone for Sun here. Let's say I just like Vocalith the Urshifu because it actually would have KO'd. What I should have realized is that knowing the last Pokemon was Rotom, Rillaboom plus Urshifu will always win that endgame if Rain is up. So this endgame is actually a little sloppy because although like I'm still in a good position, I think overriding the Rain for Sun, especially knowing that Vocalith was actually stronger because of the Rain, like it risked me losing to a Protect, I guess, but yeah, I feel like Urshifu and Rain could have, like, being able to, like, Oko the Rotom, I think was pretty good for me. And what am I doing here? Am I really going to switch here? Yeah, being able to Oko the Rotom was really good for me with Urshifu, because now if they can stall out my Dynamax, I can end up in a really bad position because my Colossal only has Heat Wave to hit the Rotom. So, yeah, I'm actually going to switch my Rillaboom out here. I'm not sure if this is a prediction or not. I'm not. Yeah, honestly, I can't tell you what I was thinking exactly. Maybe I thought that. I think I must have known that Feeny was switching in because, yeah, they wanted the Grassy Surge gone so that they could not go down to Grassy Glide, or I don't know. Maybe I don't know exactly what they were expecting. But yeah, they are going to go for a Sucker Punch here into my Colossal, which is not going to KO because I did calc that. It does a little. I think that was a high roll. I think that was actually max roll, as I recall. I think like 61 was the max damage or something. And I go for Vocalith into Feeny. It does do enough to put it into Vocalith range as well. And yeah, at this point, I have a pretty safe way to just clean this up. I just have to stall out my own Sun at this point. So Urshifu goes down, and thanks to Vocalith, you see how broken Vocalith is here. Like, yeah, like it's done so much passive damage and contributed to the Feeny going down. And the fact that it happens before leftovers as well is like just so incredibly broken. So yeah, skipping ahead, Rotom Heat comes in here. My Dynamax ends, and at this point I know that Urshifu probably can just KO the Rotom as long as I stall at the Sun. So I'm going to check here. There are 3 turns of Sun left, so I know Detect, Protect. I'm also stalling at the last turn of Light Screen here. There's no reason to attack here, so Detect, Protect, and then switch into Urshifu into Rillaboom to ensure that I make it through the turn, and then bring Urshifu back in once the Sun is over. It just guarantees me the win, because in theory, like, I can miss Heat Waves, I can, Rillaboom can go down to an Overheat and Colossals and Thunderbolt range, so I have to be really, really careful with this endgame, because even though I'm up 3-1 and I have, like, strong boosted Pokemon, yeah, I could actually lose this. So I'm just going to play really safe and conservatively and not give myself a chance to throw this. That's the last turn of Vocalith, and their Light Screen ends as well. So I have 2 turns left of Sun, meaning if I switch into Rillaboom, even if they protect it and Overheat me, then I can protect next turn, and then I can just click Surging Strikes for the KO. So I'm just going to switch Heat Wave here. I'm still +2 Sun boosted Heat Wave as well, so this is going to do a lot of damage. But in situations like this, like even if I just close combat Heat Wave, I'd probably win like 90% of the time. However, it's important always to to recognize like how you can get 100% win conditions. In my opinion, yeah. Like, being able to win a game 100% of the time is a lot harder than being able to win it, like, 90% of the time. So even though my play might look like a little bit, like, overly cautious, it's just that I have a 100% win condition, and, like, yeah, like, I want to make sure I don't throw this by accident. So Heat Wave does so much damage, like, an actual ridiculous amount of damage. Yeah. If I had missed, like, let's say I missed every Heat Wave for the rest of the game, then, if I had, like, close combated there, then Thunderbolt would have KO'd Urshifu, it would have been a 1 versus 2, they would have protected, and then I missed Heat Wave again, and, then they Overheat KO my Rillaboom, or crit Overheat KO my Rillaboom, then I miss Heat Wave again, or at this point I only need to miss 2 Heat Waves, so they actually don't protect in front of my Fake Out here. It makes sense, they probably don't think that they can win this, and frankly they can't with Urshifu in the back, because that, at this point, is in close combat range, so, yeah, that's my 100% win condition, so I'm feeling good. It was a little bit, honestly, it was harder than I thought it was going to be, given the matchup, but, yeah. So we can skip ahead to game 2 here. I'm just going to do the same thing again, because, like, basically, like, my Pokemon work, I feel like I'm in the driver's seat. These are my best 4 Pokemon. I don't want Incineroar or Moltres in this matchup. I definitely don't want Moltres here, because, like, I mean, I could have done it, but, like, against the Light Screen, Calm Mind, Feeny stuff, like, I don't really want to do it. It's good against Urshifu, and it's okay versus Urshifu, and it's good into Cortana, but, like, Colossal, excuse me, also good into those slots. So, skipping ahead a little bit. Grimmstar Feeny again. So same leads as last time. This time I'm thinking, okay, I didn't Dynamax last time. They just Calm Minded last time. I can do a play that I think is kind of interesting. And I can cover both for a prediction. Hello? I can cover for a prediction of them Max Geysering me here, and I can also cover for them Calm Minding by going for Surf Max Flare, because what this does basically is sets up Colossal immediately. I played I played really safely. I played really defensively first game. So now I'm going to play a lot more aggressively. I'm going to go for Surf Max Flare because even in the worst case scenario, which is that they max Geyser me, I'll still survive, right? And I'll still bait out their Dynamax. And if they go for a Calm Mind again, I can just Light Screen the next turn. And with Sun Up, like, I'm not under that much pressure. So I'll basically ignore the Feeny, use Colossal to take down the partners, use Vocalith into the Grimmsnarl next turn if they Light Screen. And like basically be able to win with Rillaboom against the Feeny in the end because they'll be forced to Dynamax turn 2 if I boost turn 1. So this is what I do. And as you can see, they protect Feeny and they go for Spirit Break with the Grimmsnarl. I'm actually not even sure who they target here because I do crit myself. Okay, the crit actually matters here. It'll come into play later. But crit actually ends up doing a lot, like, well, 1.5 times more than it should have. And Colossal gets set up. But at this point, I'm feeling really good. It's like basically, like the turn 1 couldn't really have gone any smoother in my opinion. So Grimmsnarl actually goes down to +2 max flare because they didn't go for Light Screen first. So I'm thinking to myself, this could not have gone any better. I got Sun Up, I took a KO, and the Fiend did literally nothing. So yeah, it's a really strong start. They next go into their Urshifu. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, Urshifu coming in here is a little awkward actually because I can't burn it because the Misty Terrain is up. So yeah. What do I even do here? I click Light Screen and Vocalith into the Feeny. Does that make sense? That makes sense to me. I mean, okay. I think the proper move here is Breaking Swipe Max Flare into the Urshifu. Or Light Screen, or Breaking Swipe Max Guard, or Light Screen Max Guard. Like, I think that those are all good moves, but what I do is pretty questionable. But yeah, I mean, it's actually not questionable. It's just that I didn't realize what the angle my opponent was going. So they actually don't Dynamax in front of my Colossal here, nor do they Sucker Punch, which makes sense. I think I was afraid of getting Sucker Punched. Okay, I realized what I did wrong. I was afraid of getting Sucker Punched by the Urshifu, so I went for Light Screen instead of trying to double into it and take it out. However, I forgot that my Dragon Pulse should probably... I think I'd have to double check, but I'm like 95% sure that with all my defense, or all my HP investment, I live a Sucker Punch. So that was, I think the better play here would have been Breaking Swipe Max Flare into Urshifu. But instead I go for Vocalith, because I want to get Vocalith off at some point. I go for Light Screen here as well. Close Combat comes out. Does a good chunk of damage, and they're going to go for a Muddy Water here and actually pick up the KO. So the critical hit from earlier, they actually crit me again here, and I think with the double critical hit, like if neither of those attacks had critical hit it, I may have survived, because I would have had about 100 HP to live with Sun Up, Dynamax up, and Light Screen up against a defensive Tapu Fini. I can't even calc it because I don't know their spread, but yeah, as you can see here, their Fini is actually going to survive just barely with like the smallest smidge of HP left. Yeah, it's in range of another Vocalith, but yeah, it's not, yeah, it's safe for one more turn. Okay, here's another misplay. So I'm going to go into Rillaboom here. This is a mistake. This is a huge mistake. Oh, wait, do I go into Urshifu? Yes. Yes, Wolf. Yes. Yas Queen. No, bad. Okay. That should have been Urshifu. That should have absolutely been Urshifu. I need, like, Fini's in range of one more Vocalith, so close combating the Urshifu here makes it so that it's a 3 versus 1. Or in the worst case, a 2 versus 1, and it's Rillaboom and Dragapult versus their last Pokemon. Still better than what I do, which is go Rillaboom, which then it doesn't exert enough offensive pressure on the Urshifu. My thought process was Rillaboom allows me to burn the Urshifu, which is a safer option, and I can Grassy Glide, put pressure on the Fini, forcing the Fini out here. So I Will-O-Wisp the Urshifu, and I'm not sure what the last one is. I'm afraid of Rotom Heat at this point, because that's what they brought in the first game, and they brought 3 of the same 4 last ones. And so I think it's probably either Rotom Heat or Cortana in the back. So I'm gonna go Will-O-Wisp, and I'm not really sure what to do here. I think Fini may switch here, but also like I think Urshifu may switch. I don't know why I knock off the Urshifu here. I think like I had a brain fart. I don't know. I could like blame it on being 7 in the morning, but I honestly don't know why I knocked off the Urshifu here. I think I knew one of the Pokemon was going to switch, but there was really no reason not to Grassy Glide the Fini because it still puts my opponent in a really awkward position. My opponent plays these next few turns, like, in my opinion, flawlessly. Like, they play out of their mind. Thundurus comes in here, and that wasn't something that was even on my radar. I really wasn't worried about Thundurus, and they actually detect Urshifu, so I waste both my attacks into the slot. Keep in mind, I choose not to Grassy Glide the Fini slot, and actually, like, I'll give you a spoiler, I'll lose this game because I don't Grassy Glide the Fini there. So this turn, like, the last turn was pretty important because I let Colossal go down, and, like, for no real reason. Like, I got Vocalith off, but, like, I could have let Colossal survive and then just won the game from there. That was a mistake. This is another mistake. So I made 2 bad turns in a row. Not Grassy Gliding the Thundy. It probably would have done 30% if I had to guess, but the chip damage is really important, as you'll see in the end game, which we'll talk about. Yeah, like it would have. It will end up costing me the game here. So they make a really good remove with Urshifu, and I realize, or no, I still don't realize what they're doing, which is that they've kind of dangled Thundurus in front of me, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, okay, well, Thundurus switched in, and that's why they have Dynamax, because they have to Dynamax their Thundurus, but I can burn that, no biggie, right? But what they're actually doing is they're repositioning their Misty Terrain to make it so I can't burn either of their Mons. So they're going to switch Thundurus back into Feeny here. Just honestly, like, really well played, in my opinion. Yeah, really, really well played, in my opinion. So they're actually going to switch Thundurus back into Feeny here. They've saved their low HP Feeny to save a turn of Vocalith chip, but also to reset the Misty Terrain. I'm going for U-turn here because, like, I know that, yeah, like, I know that I have to get Grass up at the end of this game to win, probably, because Urshifu just isn't threatening enough without Grassy Terrain, so they're going to go for Tapu Fini here again. Now, that's in range of Vocalith, but as you can see, I'm not able to burn either of these Pokemon because they detected on my first Will-O-Wisp. They switched into Fini on the second one. So Wicked Blow comes out. I do not live this because of its critical hitting ability, and I never drop the attack anyway, and my bulky Dragon Bolt does fall in one shot. So now I've lost the ability to burn Thundurus, and I've got a Rillaboom and an Urshifu Water type in the Sun, which I set up into a Thundurus. So the Sun also is going to come into play here, though I don't regret setting that up. You might be thinking, wow, that U-turned it a lot. Don't forget that Rillaboom is -1 defense because it close combated my Colossal earlier and hasn't switched out. So Urshifu comes back in. It's good that Urshifu comes in here, and not like it's good that Grassy Turn is not up because the Urshifu takes even more damage from the Vocalith. The Fini was going down either way because Vocalith goes before the Grassy Terrain, but yeah. At this point, they haven't maxed. If they had maxed, I would win this game. I think I'm in good shape, but they haven't maxed. So I'm actually in pretty bad shape. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, this isn't looking great. The nice thing about having the Urshifu on the field is that I know that my opponent is not likely to protect their Urshifu. So I think to myself, okay, Wolf, how can I still win this, right? They have to attack 3 times to KO all my Pokemon because of my Focus Sash, right? So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I think that their Urshifu is not going to protect. I'm going to pray that Fake Out does enough damage to their Urshifu that it will go down to the Vocalith chip, which I believe this is the last turn of, if I'm not much mistaken. So I'm going to Fake Out into the Urshifu and pray that does enough. Then I'm going to Surging Strikes into the Thundurus and hope that Surging Strikes plus 2 more attacks will take out the Thundurus. I don't think it's likely, but I'm going to give it a shot, you know? So we're going to go ahead and skip here. They are going to Dynamax their Thundurus. And the turn starts out okay, right? They Dynamax. They do not protect Urshifu, meaning I get to go for this Fake Out and put it into range of Vocalith thanks to the close combat drops. They went for Sucker Punch, it seems, and they go for Airstream into my Urshifu, which I survive. The other thing is that this Thundurus is Life Orb, so it takes some chip from that as well. But my Urshifu can't protect, so I don't get to play a Mind Game here, because even if I protect, like, they'll just KO me through Detect, so I may as well not go for it. I go for Surging Strike, just my strongest. Actually, I think Close Combat is technically stronger, so not going for Close Combat here is a slight misplay. So that's my bad. Yeah, Close Combat would have been stronger. That's my bad. Because it's Sun, specifically. If it weren't for Sun, yeah. So, and it actually does decent damage. Thundurus is now just over 50%, and after the Vocalith, it goes to just under 50%. So, yeah. Urshifu goes down. This is 2 versus 1, but they have their Dynamax Pokemon. So, I mean, at this point, I'm thinking, okay, like, I basically have to hope that either my Rillaboom lives a max Airstream, which I think I calculated, maybe I just was hoping that it would, but I don't think, it should never live that, I think. So I'm thinking, alright, I just have to hard read and hope that my attacks do enough damage. I'm pretty sure Knockoff is stronger, although I didn't actually check. Wait, 65 times 1.5? Wait, let's check this out. It's 65 times 1.5, so it's a 97.5 base power move, versus a 70 times 1.3 times 1.5 divided by 2. Yes, okay, Knockoff is way stronger. So I go for Knockoff plus... I'm pretty sure, I'm thinking about Surging Strikes here, but I'm like, I can only win this by making by like reading correctly here. So I go for Aqua Jet because I'm pretty sure they're going to attack into my Urshifu. I'm pretty sure they're going to attack into my Urshifu. You see Aqua Jet actually does not bad damage at all. Lightning comes out as well. So this Lightning is super smart because it overwrites my Grassy Terrain, meaning I can't Grassy Glide next turn. I wasn't even considering that. That I had that option, truthfully, or like I wasn't even considering that they could Max Lightning to do that. So Max Lightning is a really, really smart play there as well. Urshifu goes down, and now it's a 1 versus 1, but they're still Dynamaxed, unfortunately. So they're going to lose some more HP from Life Orb, and I'm going to go for a Knockoff. and leave them with just a sliver of HP. So if I had close combated, it might have made the difference. Close combat is slightly stronger. I have a bad habit of just clicking surging strikes on reflex unless close combat is like super effective. And I think in a situation like this where like my defenses didn't matter, I should have just clicked my stronger move, because especially close combat can crit and surging strikes doesn't get the crit damage ever. Like you can never crit surging strikes. So that might have been the difference here. And that Grassy Glide from earlier, where I doubled the Urshifu when I should just Grassy Glide at the Thunderous and Will-O-Wisp. If I'd hit them with Grassy Glide there, the Thunderous would have gone down. But unfortunately, the Thunderous just barely hangs on because of, like, I made so many mistakes this game. And at this point, I mean, I got nothing to do, right? I have to pray that knockoff does enough. Airstream's going to come out here and is just going to pick up the KO into my Rillaboom, and I'm going to lose game 2. So at this point, I'm, like, I'm kind of shaking a little bit because, like, this was a really good matchup, and the turn 1 went perfectly. Like, it could not have gone any better, in my opinion. Like, it was the perfect turn 1. They protected it, and went down as I surfed and max flared. And like, although I crit myself, like, yeah, like I like the fact that I didn't capitalize on that and turn it into a win is like really disturbing to me, or like really kind of not disturbing, but like really worrying to me going forward. So, I think something that I did really well this tournament, in general, was I think that I did a really good job of figuring out what my opponent's game plan was and adapting to it. So, the reason why I played the way that I did in game 2 is that I kept covering for Feeny Dynamax, and the thing about bringing Thunderous in the back is that by bringing Thunderous in the back, you are basically saying, like, you're not going to Dynamax your Feeny, because unless you're in a position where Dynamax Feeny is like going to win you the game, you don't want to Dynamax your Feeny, because by Dynamaxing Feeny, you're basically playing with a really, really awful Pokemon in the back, which is your Thunderous. Thunderous is really good when it can Dynamax and pretty poor otherwise. So, so knowing that, I know that the Feeny's not likely going to Dynamax, and this is actually something that will happen in a later set as well, where I think it's the same lead of Grimmsnarl Feeny, or no, maybe just, yeah, actually I think it is Grimmsnarl Feeny. I'm thinking about leading Rillaboom Urshifu here, because this is something that I did a fair bit in practice. Basically, Rillaboom Urshifu would force out the Feeny turn 1 and allow me to just fake out Surging Strikes and then Grassy Glide to take out the Grimmsnarl and not give them screens for the whole game. However, I didn't think that it put me in a nice enough position, and I realized by leading Urshifu Rillaboom, I was just like, oh, Mega Thunderous bait. Like, yeah, like, I just, like, yeah. I'm still considering it here. Basically the same 4, but in reverse. I think the other thing is that bringing Dragapult in the back doesn't feel good a lot of the time. So I'm backing out of that, and I actually am going to end up just deciding to do what I've been doing and just play better. Because it really wasn't, it was an issue with my targeting and with my, like, I made a lot of mistakes in game 2. Excuse me, and my opponent's locked in, so we'll go ahead and skip ahead to the battle. It's the same lineage, I'll skip the opening. However, in this position, I now know that Feeny's not going to Dynamax under, like, any circumstances, effectively. I also know that I don't necessarily want to sit Sun up if I don't have to, but I really don't remember what I do here. I believe it's just, is it Light Screen or is it Surf? I actually don't remember. Surf and Max Vocalith. Nope. Yeah. Okay, I remember the other thing here. So the other logical thing here is that, and this is something that I took, so for those of you who don't know, Santi won the first Players' Cup with 5 of the same 6 Pokemon. I probably will talk about this in my team report, but like, yeah, with like the teams play very differently because of the specific sets that are used, and because the format is different, obviously. But something that I noticed, like I watched Santi's games to like see if I could learn anything from them, and one of the things that I realized is that there were games where Santi would like just sack Colossal turn 1. Like he'd surf, he would set up his Vocalith, and then he would go down because the opponent would max their water type and hit him with Max Geyser. But then because the rain was up, Urshifu would come in, and Urshifu in rain, with a move that always crits, like it's a Pokemon you can't protect in front of. First of all, rain boosts even further. It crits always, you can't intimidate or reflect it, and Vocalith was up for more passive damage. And like, even if Colossal went down, he would oftentimes be able to win just because Urshifu Water in the rain is stupid. So I was thinking, okay, this Feeny's not going to max, right? I'm pretty sure it's got Thunderous in the back. I'm like, pretty sure it's going to be Calm Mind Light Screen here because I max flared last time. And yeah, like I'm pretty sure it's Calm Mind Light Screen, but even in a worst case scenario where they do max their Feeny and hit me with Max Geyser, they're still taking a fair bit of damage. I still got my Vocalith off. My Dragapult still makes it through the turn undamaged, and then I have Rillaboom or Urshifu and Rain, and Rillaboom and Rain as well as like as a defensive option. They just protect here though, so it's gonna be Protect Light Screen, which is a good play. But I'm putting more pressure on the Feeny this turn than I did in the past. And I'm getting some chip damage, which is actually relevant because in light screen, like my attacks do slightly less, but with Vocalith, I'm still getting some chips, so it's good to get some damage off here. Surf does way less this game, as you can see. Yeah. And I get my setup, etc., boosting, etc. And I go for Vocalith into the Feeny. And turn 2, I'm just going to spoil, turn 2 something very interesting happens. Vocalith, it does, like, no damage, but the important thing is that, like, I get the chip off, yeah, I get some chip damage here. So, keep in mind that Grimmsnarl's moves are Fake Out, Spirit Break, Reflect, Light Screen. So Light Screen is up. I can crit through the Reflect anyway with Urshifu. So Reflect only affects Rillaboom. And so, like, on the one hand, I don't really want my Colossal to get Spirit Breaked, and but also what I realize here is that Feeny's not going to max here, right? I'm like 95% positive Feeny's not going to max here, so I'm going to switch into Rillaboom and go for Max Overgrowth. I don't bother to calc this, but I know that normally I would expect Max Overgrowth to KO Feeny. And we saw that Max Vocalith almost KO'd the Feeny game 1, so without Light Screen up, I would expect Overgrowth to KO, meaning, like, it should do about 66% normally in Light Screen, and with Grassy Terrain up, I should guarantee get the KO. So, even if they live Max Overgrowth with full HP, because I got the chip damage off turn 1, yeah, I'm in a pretty good spot here with Grassy Terrain to pretty much, I think, always get the KO, and then even, the worst case scenario is I drop a special attack on my Colossal, but they still, like, I'll get Fake Out pressure by doing this, and if their last two Pokemon are Urshifu plus, Urshifu plus Thundurus, then it'll put them in a really awkward position next turn, because they would have to go into Thundurus and take a Vocalith, which they don't want to do, or Urshifu would need a Fake Out, which they also don't want to do, forcing them to play defensively. So, the other nice thing is that this also saves my Dragapult for later, which, like, because I think they have Thundurus and Urshifu in the back, and I think I'm about to get this Feeny, Will-O-Wisp is really, really strong in the late game here to help my Pokemon survive, especially my Rillaboom. So yeah, they go for Taunt. Now, if you've been paying attention, you realize that I said their 4 moves were Fake Out, Reflect, Light Screen, and Spirit Break. Taunt is not one of those 4 moves. This is an open team sheet tournament, so I knew all 4 of their moves, and I, like, at this point, I'm like, what? And I go and check, and it says Fake Out on the team sheet. So I think what happened, this wasn't malicious at all, like, my opponent didn't intend to do this, but they just had an error on the team sheet. Yeah, like basically, I think they used either a similar team or at least a very similar Grimmsnarl in the qualifiers, and yeah, like that Grimmsnarl had Fake Out and they changed it to Taunt, and they just like forgot to update it on the team sheet. Not intentional, not malicious. Like this isn't shade at my opponent, but it is a team sheet error, right? And that happens sometimes, almost entirely. Like it's almost always whenever a team sheet error. It's very rare that it's intentional. But yeah, they go for Taunt here, which is a move that I didn't know they had, personally. And so the rule is that if your opponent has a team sheet error and it's mid-game, the opponent loses the game. So at this point, I have probably won the game. I send a message to a judge and I'm like, hey, there's a team sheet error. But I don't know, like, there's a part of me that's like, I don't necessarily want, like, the Taunt doesn't make that much of a difference in this game, and, like, yeah, it is technically a game loss, but I want to play it out anyway, because I'm curious to see what would happen, so, and the judge, like, it takes some time for them to contact us and then to figure out what's going on, and, like, we're both being slow to respond, because we're not sure what the judge will rule, and, like, like, if it's just a slap on the wrist, I don't want to, like, throw the game because the ruling hasn't been made, and the ruling isn't officially made till after the game, so, yeah, there's that. So, but yeah, technically, at this point in the game, it's I guess, a forfeit on this turn, because it is a team sheet error. But yeah, we're going to play out the game anyway, just like a fun little, like a little bit into what's going on. And I think because I'm like in the chat, I'm less paying attention to the game as well at this point, but yeah, they're in a rough spot here. Urshifu comes into here, and I wonder what I do here actually. Fake Out Grimmsnarl. Like, I want to max Flare here, but like, okay, I just go for max Flare. It's not great for my Urshifu. Let's see. Grassy Glide Urshifu and, nope, let's see. I'm probably going to Fake Out here. Fake Out Urshifu and... Oh, I wonder if it's Fake Out Urshifu Vocalith into the Grimmsnarl. No, Fake Out Grimmsnarl and Flare Urshifu. I mean, it makes sense. Like, because, like, at this point, it's going to be pretty difficult for them to remove my Colossal in general. And I'll be setting up for a late game Heat Wave sweep at this point. This is my last turn of Max, though, I just realized. Yeah, this is my last turn of Max, because I Vocalith turn 1. So they go for Detect. It makes sense. This covered all the options, though, by faking out Grimmsnarl and going for a Max Flare, because, like, even if they attack here... they won't KO my Colossal, and they will, thinking, go down to Max Flare plus Vocalith chip. So, I'll be up 4 versus 2, and Grimmsnarl isn't really a Pokemon at this point in the game, because, yeah, I mean, it has Taunt, which is relevant, but, yeah, I can't, like, do damage, pretty much, to most of my Pokemon. Vocalith is doing even more chip, they heal a little bit, Oh, was my camera frozen? I didn't check. Oh, nice. Oh, my green screen's pretty trash. Hang on. You can... There you go. Sorry, I should have turned that a while ago. Okay, Colossal's back to Babby for me. They haven't maxed, but this time it's different. Colossal's still set up this time. And yeah, so I'm switching it. I'm just hard switching instead of U-turning here because I think there's a chance Heatwave will KO both. And if they get the double protect, like, then I want to make sure Dragapult comes in here because at this point, based on how they've played, I'm positive the last mon is Thundurus. And so I'm thinking, okay, Heatwave KOs both here, putting me in a pretty nice position, and then it's a 4 versus 1, and then I just have to Will-O-Wisp the Thundurus, and then I probably win from there. But yeah, so they're thinking about it. They're thinking about it. I'm gonna switch out here into Dragapult. It's just safer. Like sometimes you U-turn and sometimes you just hard switch. You don't have to U-turn every time. And this, like, yeah, they go for the double detect and they actually land it, which is definitely spooky to say the least. And they go for reflect. Their Grimmsnar's going down this turn. They've got nothing better to do. May as well click reflect. I mean, I don't disagree. You're setting up for a Thundurus endgame anyway if you're gonna win this one. So yeah, like getting reflect up since I do have 2 physical Pokemon. The one of them is critting through reflect anyway. But yeah, like. It's still a good move. So Heatwave comes out, Grimmsnar goes down. I think it's the last turn of Volclith, if I'm not much mistaken. So it is the last turn of Volclith. Urshifu got the double protect, so I was a little worried because if I missed Heatwave on Urshifu at this point in the game, I thought I could lose potentially. So yeah, Thunder switches in here. And I'm using 2 inaccurate moves this turn, which is risky. I'm just gonna go ahead and skip the Dynamax animation. I'm going for Will-O-Wisp into Thundurus because if Thundurus gets burned, it's probably game over. And then Heatwave, you know, even if I miss the Thundurus, if I hit the Urshifu, I'd probably win. So, yeah. Colossal moves first, Heatwave connects on both, and that's going to be the end of Urshifu, thankfully. And it actually does, even in light screen, it does so much damage to Thundurus. And I'm going to go for Will-O-Wisp, but I do not... Oh, I do miss. Never mind, I do miss. Okay, now... Oh, yeah. Now I'm a little worried about it, but I think it's okay. Airstream comes out and actually doesn't pick up the KO on my Dragapult. That's right. And they get a speed boost as well, which means they're now faster than my Dragapult. So, to be honest, I think it was better to hit the Heatwave and miss the Will-O-Wisp there. But yeah. The nice thing is Thundurus doesn't get Grassy Terrain recovery, so this damage is permanent. And at this point, I'm up 4-1, and I have a Fake Out user in the back. Like, I think that I probably should always win this. Yeah, like it's basically not unlosable, but it'd be difficult to lose at this point. I think, just because of Fake Out plus Urshifu, because like if you get Urshifu next to Rillaboom at any point, then you could Fake Out close combat, and they can't do anything about that because if they protect, like you go through it anyway. So yeah. But I just click Heatwave here, and now it's single target damage, meaning it's 1.5 times stronger than it just... Oh, wait, no, not 1.5. It's 1.3. 4 over 3. Yeah, 4 over 3 times stronger than it just was, and it will come out and actually just pick up the KO on Thundurus, and so I'll end up winning 4-0. So, yeah, even though, like, technically... I think technically in the official records it's counted as a forfeit. Like, Game 2 is a forfeit... Or, Game 3 is a forfeit. Just because of the taunt versus fake out thing. I end up winning 4-0 anyway, so it doesn't... Like, I'm glad that if my opponent had bad information, it was a game that didn't actually cost them anything. Like, they were permitted to change the actual... Like, they were permitted to change the fake out instead of taunt. Yeah, so it doesn't really end up affecting anything in the end, which is nice. But yeah, I think what I did poorly this game was... Game 2, I played really, really bad. Like, there will be times where, like throwing a game 2 like this, or like not like my opponent played well, so I don't even want to call it throwing. Like I think I got outplayed game 2, but I was in such a commanding position after the first turn that I should have been able to capitalize and turn that into a win, and instead I ended up losing pretty narrowly in the end game, just to like a couple mistakes. So yeah, I think that like the way that I played game 2 was pretty concerning because like I said, like it probably should have been a win, based on how well the first turn went and how good my position was. But yeah, I ended up losing nonetheless. But I think something I did really well this set was that I think the game 3 adjustment and realizing how my opponent wanted to play game 3 and realizing they didn't want to Dynamax the Feeny, because this play is very risky because you can easily lose Colossal turn 1 if you're not careful. But I think that I felt safe going for this like hard read because I realized that they probably had Thundurus in the back again, and therefore like Dynamaxing their Feeny would give that like it wasn't something they wanted to do, and therefore they would like be incentivized to play defensively. And the fact that I played defensively with my Colossal, or like both game 1 and game 2 I'd played Colossal in such a way that like if they had maxed their Feeny it wouldn't have gone well for them. Therefore I think that like leaving myself open to max Feeny game 3 was okay because because I kind of conditioned them in a way to like think that it wasn't a safe option because I kept covering for it. So when I didn't cover for it, it put me in good position. And I think just like focusing down the Feeny early rather than the Grimmsnar, which I'd been doing the other games, was just like a pretty strong option. In my opinion. But the real thing was just that I, taking the knowledge about how Thundurus had come in the back game 2, realizing they probably wanted to do that again in game 3, because Cortana's really bad here, and Rotom Heat didn't do anything in the first game, so it probably had to be Thundurus, and knowing that they probably had Thundurus in the back meant that I could make the inference that they probably weren't going to max their Feeny, which influenced my play. So I think that kind of line of thinking allowed me to play in such a way that was a better choice of aggression, and therefore win the set. And so yeah, that's the first set. There's more to come, and we'll have that on the channel shortly. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. More Players' Cup stuff coming soon, and I think that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about the set. Let me know if there are things that I could have done better, because I think I probably missed stuff as well. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye. And thank you to my camera for not freezing.